Thank you all for being here to show our love, our respect, and our support to Stanley Bayersdorfer and his family. Death cannot sever our connection to those we have lost. As we gather together to say goodbye, we also celebrate the relationship we had and affirm our hope and commitment to continue to find new ways to sanctify this connection. It is not only the soul that is eternal. The bonds of love are stronger than death. The lessons that Stanley taught us, his goodness, his wisdom, will always remain with us. He has left a permanent imprint upon our souls and upon this world that can never be erased. He continues to guide us wherever we go. In this hour of loss, we listen to the voice of our sacred scriptures. They bring us the ancient yet ever new message of God's nearness. They tell of our kinship with the Creator, in light as in darkness, in joy as in sorrow, in life as in death. And we read from Psalm 121, I lift my eyes to the heavens, from where does my help come? My help comes from God, who makes the heavens and the earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. God will watch over you and guard your coming and your going, now and forevermore. And we read Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. You make me lie down in green pastures. You lead me beside still waters. You restore my soul. You guide me on straight paths for your name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love, to hope, to dream, to be, and oh, to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me. Your laugh once lifted me. Your word was a gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. It's a human thing to love, a holy thing to love, what death has touched. I would like to invite Stanley's beloved daughter, Carol, and a good friend of the family, Rabbi Rachel Hertzman, to share sacred memories with us.
Hi, for those of you who know me, well, I've never really been at a loss for words, so. Thank you all for being here today and for braving these frigid temperatures and the snowy roads. For his golf buddies, we're glad we aren't keeping you from a nice round. He'd have been upset if you'd missed that just for him. You see, Dad didn't care much for these sorts of events. Rather, he preferred to be living life. On that note, I'm Carol, Dad's oldest and undisputably favorite daughter. Sorry, Bill. Sorry, Bob. Sorry, David. This is no contest. I was also proud to have given him his two amazing grandchildren, Ellie and Andy, and their awesome spouses, Julian and Julia, and his beautiful great-granddaughter, Caroline. Pop, you made a difference in their lives, and we are so glad that you were able to meet Caroline just a few weeks ago. As I said before, Dad always said that life was for the living, and he really didn't enjoy funerals or anything sad. He was also deeply private with his feelings. Mom shared with the entire world, even if he'd have preferred that she not. Dad was a man of strong values and convictions. He told us that his priorities in life were family, business, golf, and community service, not necessarily in that order. We'll let you decide the order as we continue to reflect on a life very well lived. Golf. He often told us how lucky he was to have had such an amazing family, his parents, sister, kids, extended family, and Fashion Post family. Each of those relationships remain. Dad lived by the philosophy that if something knocks you down, get up and face the challenge head on. He demonstrated that throughout his life, like when our grandfather Pappy was sent to Riverside Military Academy, or when Pappy was stationed at Fort Sill, Oklahoma during World War II, and Dad was sent to Riverside Military Academy in Georgia. That became an adventure because he was able to spend more time with his dear cousins Don and Jean and his aunt and uncle who lived in Atlanta. There he learned both discipline, which he never lost, and how to be mischievous too. The next time was when he took the leap to open the Fashion Post here in Louisville in 1959. He already had me, and Bill was on the way. But he believed in himself and made a go of it. Did he make a go of it? For 65 years, and still counting, thanks to Bob and a lot of other amazingly dedicated employees, many of whom are here with us today. That's a testament. When David was diagnosed with congenital deafness, Mom and Dad found the best possible school for David so that he could receive the best education to maximize his life and learning potential. That school was in St. Louis, and at just shy of 4 years old, he became a residential student there. As a parent myself, I can't imagine the pain and heartbreak of that sacrifice. On Halloween night, 1973, the store on Lexington Road burned to the ground. Rather than moaning and crying, he hit the ground running, with his only concern being his many employees and how they would survive while the store was closed. Sacrifice. 6 months later, just a week after the store reopened, the tornado hit. As he drove across Chenoweth Lane that fateful April afternoon, all he could think about was another possible devastating loss. Fortunately, our family and all of our family who lived in Rolling Fields with us was safe and sustained relatively minimal damage given the destruction surrounding us. Because Dad believed so strongly in giving back to the community that supported him, each of us had a role in the tornado recovery. For Bill and me, it meant making sandwiches at Second Press every day. When business was tough, Dad always thought about his employees first. But we never knew when money was tight, because he made sure that we always had what we needed and often had what we wanted. We learned the value of hard work, a dollar, and how to treat people. Sacrifice so that others can have what they need. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Everyone has a story and a right to be respected. Give back to the community and make the world a better place. Never cheat. That was a sure way to end a relationship with him. The customer is always right, unless they clearly aren't. As his longtime employee and friend Mitzi wrote on Facebook on Tuesday, women should be women and wear lipstick. Golf is a game. Have fun. But I can assure you that we always knew what kind of round he had had by his mood on Sunday afternoon. Work hard, play hard after your work is done. If you're on time, you're late. You only have one name. Don't ruin it with your behavior and choices, and don't embarrass others who share that name. We were in awe of Dad's ability to bounce back from every adversity he encountered, particularly these last 3+ years without Mom. That wasn't how they planned it. He was 7.5 years older than she was. Bob and David, You helped support Dad and get him where he was, due to your own sacrifices and devotion to Dad. He was so proud and appreciative of all of your efforts. Bill and Emily, you brought home-cooked meals when you came, and that sustained everyone who was here between your visits. Ed, thank you for coming with me so often and for supporting my desire to be here as often as I was able. We're grateful that until his fall on November 9th, Dad was still driving, going to work, and living independently. That's what he wanted. He fought to get back to full strength and was working hard in rehab, but COVID was just too much for his well-used body. The world was blessed to have Stanley, Mr. B, Uncle Stanley, Dad, and Pop in it for 96 3/4 years. And when you get to 96, those 3/4 years count. Rest well, Dad. We love you and are happy that you and Mom are together again, laughing, drinking, maybe having some disagreements, dancing, and loving. We'll carry on here. By the way, Heaven just got a major fashion update. And by the way, Rachel is here as a friend and a clergy member because she knew Dad as well as anybody else did too.
It is really an honor to be on this bima. Thank you, Rabbi David, for your generous offer to share this opportunity to remember Stanley. It's an honor to be with you, Carol, and with your entire family. It's been our lifetime so far. And a lot of life and a lot of love. And yeah, Stanley was still driving, playing golf, still working. I had the opportunity yesterday to go to the Fashion Post, and I saw the chair that he sat in to hold court as he was working. And I think it might have been, I'm not sure who said, we really need to have a plaque on that chair to remember him, with words to remember him. Carol, you just offered exquisite words remembering your dad. And there are a lot of words to remember your dad, some of which cannot be spoken here on this bima. In gathering with the family last night, I heard some of them, which I won't repeat. And I will also say that they were offered in loving remembrance of what made Stanley Stanley. Words to characterize Stanley. Words that come from the family and from this community. He was a teacher and he was a mentor. He taught his kids. He taught his coworkers. And they went on to be teachers and mentors. give back. Stanley and Ellen gave back to this community in so many ways. To them, Louisville was family. The Fashion Post was family. Family had a very, very broad meaning for them. And their own family it really was a little more important than golf. And I think the most important word that I've heard in many stories about Stanley is respect. He respected the human beings who he touched and who touched him. He respected that people have different stories and backgrounds and lives and beliefs and understandings. And in turn, he garnered a tremendous amount of respect. So words that characterize a life, that are shared among people, that stand out, those words are really important. So I want to share words of a sage who spent some time in Louisville, who's close to many of our hearts, Lamar Jackson. Right about now, Lamar has been saying, "We haven't finished yet. Let's get going." Now, I will say that Stanley did like to blame me, being a Ravens fan and a Lamar fan, if the Ravens weren't doing so well. He would say, "Your Ravens are not doing so well." But he would also say, "You know, they're having a really good game. I'll take that." We haven't finished yet. There's also a beautiful idea in that way from the Jewish tradition. There's a lot of work, and we can't not do it. And it also isn't on us to do all of it, because we can't do all of it. So Stanley and Ellen, together for 66 years, did as much as they could do in their lifetimes to teach and mentor, to have a lot of fun, to give back, and to respect. And all of that will never be finished. That will keep going in the lives that all of you live, in the words, in the times when there weren't words, in times like these when words were really hard. It needs to be done. It's on all of us to do it. It's not finished. And it keeps going. Because their impact, Stanley's impact, will be for generations. And in that regard, just a few words for all of you who are in Stanley's closest immediate orbit. Words about what it means to not finish and to go forward. You all have rallied around your parents for a lot of years. And now, it's time to rally around each other and to try to practice what one very wise family member mentioned: when fewer words are important. To try to practice knowing that patience is not any of your strong suit. Patience. And respect, which is all of your strong suit. It's not easy. You can't do it all. It's grieving, and it's emotions, and it's history, and it's what the hell do we do now? It's all of it. It's work. It's respect. It's giving back. And it's all love. We offer the sacred idea that Stanley's memory will be a blessing, that the memories, the stories, all of it will be healing and bring comfort. Everybody here was touched by Stanley. There have been a lot of words. Let's just take a few moments for sacred silence so that each of us can have a moment to reflect on who Stanley was in our own lives. Will all of those who are able to rise please do so? El Malay Rachamim, Shochen Bamramim, Hamtzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, Im Kedoshim Tuharim Kzohar, Harakia Mizharim, Et Nishmat Stanley W. Bayersdorfer, Shehalach La'olamo, Ba'al Harachamim Yistarehu Beseter Kanafav La'olamim, V'yitzror b'yitzror hachayim et nishmato, Adonai hu nachlato, v'yanuach b'shalom al mishkavo, v'namar Amen. Compassionate Holy One, Eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Stanley, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, Let him find refuge in your eternal presence. And let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May Stanley rest in peace. And together we say, Amen. We conclude the service with words that help us remember that while we hold the memories and the joy and the grief, that there is something that is holding us. The words of the Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. B'galat v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach la'olam la'almai almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitmomam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei d'kutsha barichu. Le'olam min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata. Damiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel. V'imru. Amen. May Stanley's memory be a blessing. You are all a blessing to the family. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting all of them and for continuing to do the work. Ken Hiratzon. May it be the will of the one who gives life and allows for life to thrive and be meaningful. Please be seated.
That was your mother.